and welcome to the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show is presented to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. I'm Chase Miller. This week on the program, a lot of basketball, a little wrestling, and a senior recap or a senior spotlight with Ingrid Rustad from the Hawley Nuggets. We'll open up the program with a couple of girls basketball interviews with Randy Syrstad from Sargent County Girls Hoops. Also, we'll be chatting with Thief River Falls girls basketball coach as well. We'll be joined by Pine River-Backus boys basketball coach coming up in our second segment, and Bryce Laxdal in Northern Cass picked up a nice win over Oak Grove in boys hoops in Division A last night. We'll talk with Coach Laxdal as well. Also, John Clark Jr. from Mahnomen-Waubun boys basketball team will be joining us, and we'll hear from Carrington boys wrestling coach as well. Again, this is the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show as presented to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. Let's get into our first interview with Randy Syrstad from Sargent County. Join us now from Sargent County, a top 10 rated girls basketball team in the state in Division B girls hoops, is Randy Syrstad here with the Sargent County Bulldogs, off to a 7-1 start on the season. And Randy, before we talk about Carly Cadoon against her rival in Lisbon on Monday night, getting her 1,000th career point, let's just kind of recap how the year to this particular structure has gone. One loss against Mayport CG, a tale of two halves, but other than that, you've been able to have a really nice balanced season from a team that made that state tournament a year ago, Randy. So what have you liked best about this club so far this year?
I think the senior leadership, I mean, coming back and they have high goals again to try to, make it again, obviously, too. But they're just off and on and off the court. Leadership would be the biggest one, leading by example, showing how the hard work does pay off, all the way down and trickling down now to the now eighth graders that we have playing too on C Squad. So I think that'd be the biggest positive, I think, from them.
Able to, anytime someone gets an accomplishment, we got to recognize them here. Carly Cadoon, obviously over 20 points tonight, win against the Lisbon Broncos on the road. What did you just kind of see from her accomplishment here? What has allowed her to get to that 1,000 career plateau?
Yeah, it showed. She got a little emotional at the during pictures, and then right after the game got done, she realized, it's quite a feat in itself. It's a big monkey off her back too. She been talking to me a little bit. I didn't want to, go too much into depth with her, but like her parents had said too, it's a relief, and now she can focus more on the team aspect and playing. Not so much trying to get to that 1,000 as quick as she possibly can too.
As you continue to go through the schedule here, you got Linton HMB coming up this weekend. You got a Region 1 contest with Enderlin, then a little bit more of, district play with Enderlin and more district games coming up here, Randy. So what's one thing that you want to see from your team now as you kind of get to the quote-unquote dog days of the basketball season here, in mid-January?
Yeah, I think we counted with the boys and us. We have, there's almost 30 games within a month and a couple days there. So a lot of games to get in. You got to keep battling and grinding because it's not easy. We just went on a stretch with 4 days and 3 games, and it showed last night in the legs. And the girls were saying their shots were short, and it showed. But I mean, they made it through, and we got 8 out of 9 wins out of all three all 3 games and teams. C Squad, JV, and varsity. So it was a lot of fun to cap it off last night.
I know we could talk about everybody on the roster here, Randy, but we'll go over a couple other players coming up here. And someone that maybe doesn't get all the accolades, so to speak, on the basketball court, but a glue player in Sadie Newstall. What does she just kind of do? I know she might not put up 12 points and 12 rebounds and be a double-double machine, but you can have players that do other things that impact the game outside of scoring here, Randy.
Yeah, I always say she's one of the hardest workers I've had and coached. All the new stalls could be that fact too, but she does the little things right, does what you ask her of to do, and goes. She'd run through a brick wall if you told her to. So I can't ask for anything more from her, and she knows like she's not going to see the stat book, so to speak, with points and rebounds and assists, but she does work her tail off, getting positioning, defensive side of the ball, loose balls. She's on the floor 9 times out of 10, and I can't, like I said, I can't ask for anything more from her.
Similar question for another elder statesman on the team, and Lily Lee. Just kind of what do you want to see from her throughout the rest of the season, and what does she provide to the club?
Yeah, she started out with a near 20-point game, I think, the first game, and then she kind of tapered off. But she's just under 10 points a game, and her rebounding abilities inside with her length and her size, just staying positioned and knowing that she's got to be able to get those offensive boards and putbacks right away, working on those hands and finishing and getting shots up too. I harp and preach like I want her to take another two or three shots at near mid range or 15 footers, but just being able to work hard and stay in the positioning inside.
Someone who is also part of that starting lineup with Ashlyn Sundquist. Just kind of what have you seen from her role throughout the season, and how has it kind of grown?
Yeah, it took a little bit right away. She's starting to roll a little bit. She can hit that mid range, hit couple threes now too. But her ability to finish at the rim too with her length, and she's so strong. She's working nonstop throughout the whole year, and just using that strength to her ability and going aggressively when she can, but not too aggressive to get in foul trouble.
I know you look at your schedule and you're able to get some crossover region matchups with like an EKM team who had a really good, Mathern from last year who went on to play at the University of North Dakota. You take a look at Mayport CG, the defending champs. You just played them last weekend. You got Benson County, which you added on the schedule, which is a top 10 team as well. So how do these non-district games hope to help you once you get to district tournament and then eventually, if you're fortunate enough, regionals and go from there here, Andy?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just learning experience. Get learning about our team and what we can and cannot do against different abilities and different characteristics of other teams, like an EKM, a Mayport. Learning from that. Like you said, a tale of two halves, but trying to find the good stuff from what we're able to do against those better teams, and then taking what we need to improve on and going to practice and working on our ability to find the positives and improve on those.
I know with three divisions of basketball, it's kind of allowed teams to maybe have even whether it was the old Class B or the old Class A, a little bit more flexibility in scheduling. You added Benson County going into the season here, and I know last year, same thing when Mayport CG are able to get them on the schedule as well throughout the course of the year, Rennie. So, how do those games just kind of come about? Is that something you talk with the opposing coaches? Do you go to your school administration and AD and say, "Hey, we heard X team wants to come down and play," or "Hey, we want to go up to X team and go play a game"? Just take us how that kind of has came through the last couple of years for you.
I always kid with Eric Olson, our head football coach. He always says it's not what you know, it's who you know. And we have a couple guys that are from the Maddock area, where Benson County is, and just knowing their coach, I've got to know him the last couple of years with coaches clinics and stuff like that, and then running into him at the state tournaments itself. But just getting in contact with him, like last year, we had a game get canceled, so we had an opening spot, and Mayport opened up, and I've known Keenan for since high school. It just worked out that way too. And then also knowing their coach, and we had a district game get canceled, or we could move the JV and C squad up to have their JV play their varsity, and so we had another game open up and worked out that way.
It's funny how just things kind of merge together at the course of the season here, Randy. Biggest thing if someone comes and watches the game in Milner, Gwinner area, if someone sees you on the road or on your live event, what do you want people to take away from this team when they watch you play, 4 quarters of basketball here, Randy?
Yeah, the ability to play fourth quarters and going nonstop. I always emphasize their attitude and efforts with our girls, and they have some other words that go along with it as a team aspect. Trying to keep improving, keep battling, not letting up, going after the loose balls. We got abilities to score from a lot of girls, and then it trickles down all the way into our younger girls in the program too. So hopefully they see that. Good sportsmanship would be another one too, not overdoing it, so to speak, but having that confidence and showing what kind of program we've built here too in Sargent County.
Hey, Randy, congratulations on a really good start to the season. I know there's still a lot more goals and aspirations as the course of the year. Look forward to seeing you sooner rather than later at the gym, and best of luck against the Lions coming up this weekend.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
That again, Randy Syrstad, head coach for the Sargent County girls basketball team.
Our YourLiveEvent.com coaches show continues on. I'm joined by girls basketball coach in Thief River Falls, Paula Praska. And coach, 10 games in, you guys are 8-2. You got to be happy with your record through 10 games.
Oh, absolutely. The girls have been playing pretty well.
And then just the other night at BGMR, you had Josie Peterson reach 1,000 points. She's been a good player for you for quite some time now through her time there as senior. Just talk about how cool that is to see players reach milestones like that.
Well, it's really exciting. You know, when you know that they've put time in the gym and they've worked hard at it and they've dedicated a lot of time to it, it's exciting to see them hit that milestone. It's almost just as exciting to see their teammates and how happy and thrilled they are for them to hit that milestone. So it was really fun. And BGMR was really a great host to have that because they just had a gal who the game before had hit 1,000. So it was all kinds of excitement for both teams.
You mentioned how excited her teammates were for her. I can tell just by watching you guys when I'm covering the games, you guys have a really good chemistry, a really good vibe to this year's team.
Yes, we do. They're very supportive of everybody, and it's so much fun. You know, it's not always fun to be the person sitting on the bench sometimes, but the people that we have on our bench right now are amazing. And I tell you what, they make our team just as good as if they're on the floor or on the bench because they are so supportive and they work with each other well, whether it's practice or the game. It's awesome.
Ava Waldall is one of the best players in the area, I would say. Just talk about her growth and how much she means to the success of Prowler basketball as you guys continue on through the year.
Yeah, Ava's having a good year this year. You know, it's nice to see her have a good year this year, especially when she got hurt last year with a pretty significant injury and missed quite a bit. But it when Ava's not on the floor, you can see that her presence isn't there, but it's almost a calming effect that when she's on the floor. She kind of settles people down, which is nice. And then it's nice to have an inside presence, but she can kind of pull it out a little bit on the outside. So that's great. She can handle the ball okay. So if we get in a bind, she understands like, okay, I got to go help them out, and she'll go and try and take a pass to get the ball up the floor or whatever. So it's a calming factor when she's out there.
A difference between last year and this year with you guys that I've noticed is Taylor Berg handling the ball for you guys, and then also defensively. She's got a really tight handle on the basketball, and she's kind of been a breath of fresh air at that point guard position for you.
She's starting to get her role. Yes, she struggled with it in the beginning, understanding what her role was to be with the point guard part. And she is getting better every game. So that is nice to have somebody that is able to handle the ball or push the ball up the floor. Defensively, she's working at it. It's getting better. She's got ways to go.
Your guys' brand of basketball, it's always scrappy on defense. That can lead to some fouls, though, for you guys. Sometimes you guys get into some foul trouble. What is your philosophy defensively when you guys are kind of, reaching in, picking up early fouls? As a coach, what is your defensive philosophy?
Well, I'm sure you can hear me, but there's a lot of people can hear me yelling feet. They need to move their feet more. I will take an aggressive foul if they're playing good defense and it's aggressive. The fouls that we're getting though are lazy defense, and we're not moving our feet. We're just trying to reach in because we're not getting where we need to be. If we can get our feet where we need to be defensively, we're pretty solid. But if we're not getting there, that's the fouls we're getting into. And like you said, it is difficult for us to get into those fouls, but I got a couple young girls on the JV team that have really kind of stepped up that it's nice to see, because if I do get into foul trouble, my bench wasn't real deep, and now it's getting a little deeper with those girls picking up their game.
Yeah, you mentioned the young girls who are getting more playing time. Just who are they and what do they offer?
Well, I've got Brayley Weenan. She comes off the floor. She offers more, I think, she sees the floor really well. So that's nice to have. So she can kind of move the ball around. I've got Kenzie Reynolds that's coming in, and defensively, she's really done a nice job. I mean, my goal for her the last couple times I've brought her in is like, okay, this is who you have. That's your sole worry. You just need to defend them. You need to keep them out. And she's done what's been asked of her. She's getting a little more comfortable with the offensive part of it. But she's really good at getting in there and getting rebounds. So that's a plus for her. Allie Gross has been on the floor a little bit, and she's also very good at seeing the floor and knowing where to get the ball and getting into the paint, and whether she's dishing out or gets into the paint. She does that really well.
Yeah, you mentioned Allie Gross. That was the name that I was looking for because I watched her play some JV before varsity games, and she had a couple highlight plays. You got to be excited about what she's going to bring to your program in the years to come.
Yeah. Yeah. I think with Allie's got the basketball mentality and stuff. It's just sometimes it's like, I'm like, come on, Allie, you got to, just a little quicker, pick it up a little bit. She's kind of like, she's not methodical, but she's just calm. And, but sometimes it's like, okay, let's go push the ball up the floor type thing.
And then Anaya Fields, who
Anaya.
I've been watching her on JV the past couple of seasons. Now she's kind of in that backup big role for you when Ava comes off the floor. She's been a presence for you, but she's also coming into her own still, but she's getting better and better.
She has done some things this year that have been, well, we've tried to pull out of her last year. And so finally it's kind of coming for her. And it's really kind of nice because sometimes we can put her and Ava both on the floor. And to have two inside presence like that, a lot of teams can't guard that. Or on the flip side, we've come across a couple teams that do have two pretty big inside presence. And now we've got Ava that can go, or Anaya that can go in there. And so I've got Ava and Anaya, and that defensively helps a lot too.
All right.
And Anaya's getting better about at least looking to the rim and looking to maybe shoot instead of just kicking it out right away. So you're right. She is coming into her own a little bit.
As we continue on through the year, when you look at the section, when you guys are at the top of your game, you believe that you could be one of the top teams in the section when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I do. I was just looking at the standings the other day, and I think we were 6. And I'm looking like there's a couple ahead of us. Like when we lost to DGF, we should have never lost that game. We did not play well at all that game. We shouldn't have lost, but we deserved to lose because we didn't play well. We get Park Rapids now tonight. I think that's going to be a good test. We don't see Barnesville till the end. I wish we saw them a little sooner because I think they've got a good game going on right now. But honestly, yes, I do. I think we should be up there in the top 4 when the section's said and done at the end here.
Well, Coach, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and I'll see you later tonight at the Brick House as you guys take on Park Rapids. Thanks so much for joining us on the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show.
You're welcome. See you tonight.
There's more at 104. Hillsborough, North Dakota has everything you need on your next road trip. Food, fuel, fun, and family-friendly activities. Stop by and fill up your tank or grab a bite to eat. Have a blast at Goose River Golf Club, the swimming pool, or one of our beautiful parks. There's even ice skating and cross-country skiing. Take in the sights or stay the night so you don't miss a thing. Experience Hillsborough and see why there's more at 104.
Don't be fooled by that beat-up old cap. Its faded crown represents the tireless work of America's farmers and ranchers. Its sturdy brim, their dedication to providing our nation with a safe, affordable food source. So we'd like to tip our hat to them. Farmers Union Insurance, protecting those that protect America's food source.
Visit with Ryan Opdahl, your local Farmers Union insurance agent in Hillsborough.
Parenting is hard for all of us. And so providing those little resources that we can share for those conversations that are hard to have and to kind of be that icebreaker for both professionals, parents, and then open up that conversation to the more engaging conversation that's needing to be had.
Being a parent myself, oftentimes it's the simple things that make a difference.
As a busy parent myself, just engaging with your kids, making it an everyday thing so they know that you're there, they can always come to you when those difficult situations do arise.
Contact Trail District Health Unit in Hillsborough for more information.
For the Your Live Event Coaches Show, join us now from the boys basketball team for Pine River-Backus. We are joined by head coach Jordan Ackerman. First time Zoom interview with you, Jordan. Of course, we've gotten to know each other awfully well the last few years. Thank you for some time for the Your Live Event Coaches Show.
Yeah, happy to be chatting hoops as always.
Yeah, it is a good time, and so far a pretty good season for this PRB Tigers team. And, we start with, Jordan, coming into this year, we knew that there were going to be some familiar names. Now, I've seen you a couple of times. We've seen some shakeups with the lineup because you have some decent depth. Coming off a pretty challenging season last year, What was one of the big focuses you had for your team to take a step forward again in the 24-25?
Yeah, I think obviously the summer helps and maturity helps and another year older helps. But just kind of looking at the group of guys we had and trying to play to their strengths a little bit too. Kind of looking at it, we had a lot of length and we had a lot of scoring coming back and some, I think, improved shooting versus last year. So kind of a little bit of the maturity and experience, and also just trying to fit what we're doing offensively and defensively to our players a little bit better. And kind of looking at some of the depth pieces too. I think we can press a little bit more than I maybe have in the past. And so yeah, just kind of a little bit of both. And the players have taken a lot of steps forward just personally too. You know, a couple of players got their shots up this summer and worked on their ball handling or played AAU, did their open gyms. There's just a lot of different parts that went into it, which it's been great to see it kind of pay off for them so far.
As we're talking for the show, you're sitting at 5-3. You're 4-1 in section games. Friday night is a good example, I thought, because you took on Long Prairie Grey Eagle, and one of the things that kind of stood out, at least for a good chunk of that game, was the confidence the guys had taking the shots. When you're talking about improving and structuring the offense to their strengths, how much has that had a play in the growing confidence of some of these guys?
Yeah, I think that when they know that that's kind of a little shift in our offensive plan is just to get more shots up. I think we have good rebounders that are confident rebounders, so it kind of plays hand in hand. And there's some of these shooters that I've seen them shoot in practice. I've seen them put the work in and try to instill confidence in them that the next one's the best one. And if they miss 2 in a row, they're going to hit that third one, and just try to instill confidence in them. That doesn't mean every player has the ultimate green light, but I want them to have confidence that if they're open, shoot it. And we're trying to work through some things too of making sure our shots are on balance and we're getting kick out threes versus kind of transition threes or off the dribble threes, which we're not as, we don't shoot as quite as high of a percentage on those, but we just want to have them confident when it comes game time. And so far they've been pretty confident shooters. They're not afraid to chuck it up there.
Well, and you talked about the defensive side, and there's been a couple of games where you have allowed a lot of points, and we've seen certain areas of games that the first half against LPGE, the defense was pretty locked down. The second half, they got rolling. When you see your defense playing confidently, what are you trying to do defensively to make sure that you can hold opponents, especially when you need to?
We're trying to just speed the game up. That's kind of the point of our press, to speed our game up. Our guys really feed off of that energy. So yeah, we're just trying to speed the game up and hopefully get more offensive possessions. I think we have some kids that can really score the ball, and we're hoping to just turn them over on defense. And once they break the press, that's an area where I think we needed to continue to improve. I don't think we've been very stellar in that category of half-court defense. I don't think our energy is always consistent. I don't think our rotations are great. Sometimes we're not always sticking to our schemes, and so that's kind of an area we're working on. But so far we've been able to kind of play fast, and that's worked out in our favor for a couple of those games.
When you look at some of the wins that you've been able to notch, especially in the section, Section 5A, there's a couple of teams that have kind of always been near the top, but it seems to be one of those sections where there's a lot of teams that if they feel that they can really be playing good ball in the playoffs, that they're going to have a chance. What have you really liked in terms of being able to win a good handful of the section games you've had so far?
Yeah, I think just thinking back to last year, it's good to take a step forward. We lost to Sabika last year. We barely beat Long Prairie last year. Swanville was a team. I think they beat us last year as well. So it's kind of nice to just rebound from those and pick up a few of those wins early in the section. We still have plenty of section games left, but you're just always happy to get a few of those. And, Nevis is still the top runner in our section for sure. They just played Cherry in a really close game. So I think all of us are kind of playing catch up to where they're at. But, you got to win the games that are 50-50, which I think we've had a lot of 50-50 games, and we've won a couple of them, luckily. And we're just going to continue to try to be 1-0 the next day, our next game.
When you went to your roster, and I mentioned right at the onset, Jordan, that I've seen the shakeup in the lineups, and you have a lot of guys that seemingly you can put into certain roles. How are you personally working on the right lineup for the right night, when to have the rotations? Is it something that you may have a fluid lineup throughout the season depending on your opponent?
Yeah, a little bit of that. Just kind of deciding who needs to play a little bit more. And then also I've been trying to tell them, like, make me an idiot for subbing you out. Doing so many good things on the floor that I'm look like a bad coach by taking you out. And I think that's part of what also makes us, having some success too, is everybody's kind of buying into the role of, like, we're going to sub quite a bit. You might only play for a minute or two, and trying to just be confident and happy for your teammates when they're successful, and just trusting that, by continuing to sub in, and maybe it's different lineups, or maybe somebody has a good game like Mason had the other day, and just trying to get them to understand that happens. Sometimes a kid has a great game, the next game it might not be their game, and we've had a lot of kids step up and have big moments or big games or hit big shots, and the rotations and substitutions just kind of varies based on who the opponent is, how I feel we match up with them. We have a really tough team coming up on Thursday in Pequot, and our rotations might look different playing a team of that caliber versus some of the other teams that we've played. Not to knock on them, but Pequot is just really, really solid, and I think they have a good chance in their section of making it to state 3 times in a row. And, like, your rotations might look different in those games versus some of these other schools we play, and it just kind of all depends.
Can you continue to work on your team and where you want to move forward, what are the 2 biggest keys, Jordan, in your mind that you have to get solidified as you start getting to that halfway point of the season?
Yeah, we can't keep giving up 68 points a game and expecting to score 70 to 80 points. We have to tighten up defensively. That's the biggest thing. I feel confident we're going to be able to get shots up. Our offense has looked okay. We have to continue to work on our defense. Teams are averaging, I think, 68 or 69 points versus us, and that's not a recipe for success come the postseason. So we got to continue to tighten that up and try to get it down to that 58 to 60 mark, which is a long ways from 69 when you're cutting down your averages. So we just have to get better on defense for sure.
You talked about being able to do some more full court press than you maybe have in the past with the length that you have. What's the work going into that balance of being able to press effectively to have that a part of bringing that points per game against down?
Yeah, I think it's just kind of looking at your opponents too. Like, some opponents you can't press. It doesn't help you at all. Some you can. So kind of just looking at your opponents and deciding, are we going to press them? And then when we don't press a team, we have to be really intense in the half court, which I think could help us too, of just having a game where we sit in the half court, play man, or just try to be solid in those principles versus kind of the zone. You're trying to get them playing fast, and you can make a few mistakes. So just kind of looking at the teams we're playing and what we think puts us in the best spot to win.
Well, you mentioned a big one tomorrow night, Pequot Lakes, who is again, they've looked real strong. It's a short drive, which is good for the road trip. Sometimes you can almost walk to the gym to play those guys. But
I don't know, that's quite a ways for that, but it feels pretty close compared to North Home and Red Lake. You're right.
That's right. Yeah, definitely a closer one. But looking forward to being there for that one tomorrow night. We certainly appreciate the time here and wish you and the Tigers the good luck as the season rolls on.
Yeah, thanks for chatting hoops and supporting the boys, Devin. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Jordan Ackerman, head boys basketball coach for the Pine River-Backus Tigers, joining us here on the Your Live Event Coaches Show.
Coach Laxdal joining us here on our Tommy's Express Car Wash postgame show. We were talking before the game, and you were saying that this will be a good one to have as a Region 1 opener to your season. How did you guys pull this one off in overtime after that lead slipped away?
Yeah, we did a good job, kind of defending how we wanted to right away, making them take tough shots. Got out to that big 27-10 lead, and basketball is a game of runs, and we know they're a really good team, well-coached team, and they were going to go on a run, and they did. They really did. They kind of dorked our big guy pretty hard in the paint, and then really pressured our guards up top, and it made it difficult for us for a while. They came all the way back, took the lead, and we just kind of made a couple more plays, and then really it came down to Sam Nelson in the fourth quarter was huge. I can't say enough good things about him, and obviously having Trey back is really nice too. But then we did a good job of making free throws too in the fourth quarter, and the first buck in the fourth quarter is always huge. You can get that lead. It just kind of takes kind of some pressure off, and we went a couple long spurts there without scoring. I got to do a better job of getting us plays and get us in positions to be successful, but our guys did a really good job of grinding it out, and doing it on the road is always tough, especially in this region. Is so deep and so good. We'll take anything we can get.
Yeah, and you mentioned Sam Nelson. Just an incredible performance off the bench. Some of the most clutch offensive rebounds you'll ever see in a game that he just added to it. What did that dynamic add to this game when Keelan Munson was out with a little bit of foul trouble?
I've been coaching Sam and his older brother Joe for so long, and combined both of them coaching for 8 years. I don't think either of them ever missed an open gym, a weight session. Anytime a team hang out, they're always there. They're absolutely great teammates, and to see a kid come in like that, just waiting for his chance and waiting for his when we need him, being a senior like that, I'm just so happy for him, and so just so proud of him. Just makes me smile, makes me happy.
Yeah, the word Trey used to describe him was he's a grinder, and
yeah.
That really looked exactly what he was putting on display here tonight, getting after it on the offensive boards. And then how about Hudson Rachel, 13 first-half points? He cooled off in the second half a little bit, but how much did that big start mean, and then that dagger three at the end?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge, and Hudson's a guy, he's only a sophomore, but he's been playing for a long time, and I don't run a lot of sets for him because he's so good at getting his shot off and scoring on his own. When we're struggling to score like that, that's probably on me to run a few more sets for him. That's something that, I got to learn as we grow with this team. And but yeah, I mean, absolutely huge. The first 5 in overtime, and the first 13 in the first half, and a big first quarter is huge. He got us going right away both times, and he's a guy that we're going to look to lead on to to be one of our leading scorers this season. So that he was huge tonight.
Yeah, and then so Trey Huzar, first game back from injury. We just heard from him earlier, but fighting through the cramps, getting the legs back under him still a little bit. But like you said pregame, he drops the most casual 15 points you ever seen. That's what he ended up with tonight.
He's going to score his 15 on 10, 12 shots. He doesn't force anything. We use him, like I was talking before, just like a Swiss Army knife. Brings the ball up, breaks the press, get him some sets into some touches in the paint. He wants to get his teammates involved. Just a great kid, and obviously coming back, it wasn't playing. I'm sure he played probably 35 minutes tonight. Coming back and having playing in over a month is tough to do, but it's just kind of a testament to his character. He's got a lot of things going on when he's going to graduate, but he still wants to be here for his teammates and play basketball and grinds it out and guts it out. And that's kind of, this team, we're kind of gutsy, kind of grinding everything out. Every game has been close for us, and, we're learning as we're going, and we're having a lot of fun. I can't say enough good things about this group.
And then lastly, just getting another close, grinded out victory. What does that say about the character of what this team is built upon? Because like you said, another really close game down to the wire. You had a large lead that dwindled, but you still pulled it out.
Yeah, it helps you in those pressure situations, because at the end of the year, you're going to be in pressure situations. I just saw the Wahpeton-Castleton game as, one was down to the wire, 1 second left. Looks like Castleton's going to win. So every game is going to be close, and you got to learn to be able to, handle that pressure and to perform under that pressure. So every game like that's just a learning experience. The more that we can win like that, the more confident you are in those situations. And these guys watched us do it last year. We won a lot of close games, and so far this year we've been, pretty close in a couple close games and pulled this one out. So yeah, those are what you want on the schedule, and they're only going to help you at the end of the year.
Absolutely. Congratulations on a gritty win. Have a safe ride home.
Thank you. Appreciate the coverage.
Absolutely.
Treat yourself to a great career at American Crystal Sugar Company. Team up with quality people making quality products. Full-time and year-round in a stable business. With great pay and benefits, including time off available from day one. American Crystal Sugar Company invests in you to promote your continued growth and career advancement. Grow your career, doing your best work within the world's best beet sugar company. Apply online today at AmericanCrystalCareers.com.
Growers, prepare your fields and yields against the wet conditions for 2025 and beyond with a drain tile project from Chad's Excavating out of Mayville. Drain tiling will improve and increase your yields and land values for years to come. Chad's Excavating provides free, detailed estimates, and with over 40 years of combined success, they provide professional installation and service. Call Chad today to prepare for your future and any questions that you might have. That's Chad's Excavating out of Mayville, helping farmers grow.
There's more at 104. Hillsborough, North Dakota has everything you need on your next road trip. Food, fuel, fun, and family-friendly activities. Stop by and fill up your tank or grab a bite to eat. Have a blast at Goose River Golf Club, the swimming pool, or one of our beautiful parks. There's even ice skating and cross-country skiing. Take in the sights or stay the night so you don't miss a thing. Experience Hillsborough and see why there's more at 104.
We're joined by the head coach of the Mahnomen-Waubun Thunderbirds boys basketball team. John Clark Jr. is joining us here today as, we're out of the holiday break. Rays, you got one game in and a game where I think you saw some positive things out of your guys against Fertile Beltrami the other night. Kind of a good way to kick off the new year with some positives here. Your thoughts after that one?
Yeah, we definitely showed some improvement in a lot of areas. So, that is a positive. I think watching film with the guys at practice after the game, we saw some things on defense that we can fix, fairly easily. And if we do that, we are going to prevent easy baskets, and obviously that's less points for the other teams. So a couple simple things on defense that we can fix. And, we're a work in progress on offense, but it was nice to see our kids. We made some shots. We've struggled shooting the ball in the early season, but we made some shots finally. So good to see the ball go through the hoop. So, like I said after the game, definitely a step in the right direction.
And I think you saw some kids that you need to step up, kind of start that process. I know Anthony Thompson had a big game for you, and he's a kid that you need to start playing well.
Yeah, Ant-Man, he can shoot the ball. I mean, he's our best shooter. So I know he was struggling a little bit, but if he shoots it a lot, he's going to make a good majority of them. And we forget that he's only a sophomore, but he's just going to get more and more confidence as we go. Also, Hudson MacArthur played his best game, of his young career. So we're hoping he can build off that. And, you start getting two kids that start playing well, and soon that'll be three, hopefully, and four. And pretty soon we got 5 or 6 kids playing well, and we'll be a much better team, obviously.
And some other kids that I saw some good things out of, maybe didn't score a pile of points, but you've got Brian Clark who gets a couple of big rebounds. You have James Thompson come off the bench and he hits a big 3 and plays better. So, some of these kids are starting to kind of, I think, figure it out for you.
Well, and that's what we're preaching is you don't have to score a pile of points to help your team. If you play good defense and, like you said, get some big rebounds and maybe hit a clutch shot here or there, I mean, that helps your team. And for us, we're not going to score 100 points a game, but, if we can get those small contributions here or there, even getting your hands on a 50-50 ball and getting possession of the ball can be a big thing. So, and that's something we haven't been doing. So, we're, like I say, we have a lot of kids that are pretty equal ability. Some are better shooters than others. Some are better defensive players. Some are better rebounders and shooters. So we're still trying to figure that out as well. But yeah, if you could just, when you're in the game, if you can make a positive contribution somehow, some way, obviously, that will help your team.
Well, you kind of get into January and it's just kind of a lot of games, not a whole lot of practice time. You got Sacred Heart coming up on Thursday night. Traditionally a very good basketball team.
Yeah, they're gonna play right, and that's how there's sound, good quickness, got some good shooters. So obviously you're gonna have to play well to be in the game. And I'll say this all year, we can't worry about them. We just got to make sure that we are taking what we are practicing and transferring that to game situations and improving each and every game. So, we showed that our first game, we showed we improved. Now we need to back that up. We haven't done that all year. It's usually 1 step forward, 2 steps back. So hopefully now we're going to take 1 step forward and maybe 2 steps forward again. So, that's our goal. Focus on the Thunderbirds and get a little better each week here.
I noticed Hudson MacArthur limping a little bit, but for the most part, you've stayed pretty healthy at this point, haven't you?
Injury wise, but we've had every sickness known to mankind go through our team, and we're still fighting that. We have kids out right now, and but injury wise, we're in good shape. It's just we got to get our bodies healthy from these colds and flus and pneumonia and whatever else is going through our team.
Yeah, I noticed you're sounding a little bit better here today.
Feeling just a little bit better. It's some rough stuff. I know. Yeah, it knocked me down for a couple days. So, I give our kids credit. They're not feeling the best, but they're there and they're trying hard. And that again, that speaks to our kids. We played some awful basketball at the beginning of the year, but our spirits have stayed high, and our attitudes have been good. And so I'm very proud of that. That they understand the situation and they want to improve and get better. So give them credit for having great attitudes.
Well, I know we got Thursday on the air, and I know we got upcoming games coming up for your race. So I appreciate the time here today, and best of luck here with the upcoming games.
All righty. Thank you, Sean.
John Clark Jr., head coach of the Mahnomen-Waubun Thunderbirds, joining us here today.
Right now, head coach Josh Kerbaugh for the Carrington Cardinal boys wrestling team joins us here on the Coach's Show on yourliveevent.com. Thanks, Coach, for taking time and chatting with us. And we want to talk Cardinal wrestling here on our coaches program. And, of course, the Letterman's tournament coming up in Castleton this weekend. We'll have that for you right here on yourliveevent.com. Complete coverage Friday and Saturday, all-day coverage from Castleton this weekend. So, Coach Kerbaugh currently in his 12th year for Carrington Cardinal boys wrestling. So thanks again for joining us here, and we're going to kind of start things off. How so far? We're kind of midway through that wrestling season. How do you think Carrington wrestling has been doing so far?
Yeah, you're right. It's just about the halfway point, or maybe even depends how you look at it, a little longer. We're just coming off the biggest tournament, the Rumble on the Red, which features teams from all over the region. A team from Nebraska is the one who won it this year. There's 60 plus teams, over 2,000 wrestlers. So it's a real big tournament. 20 some mats at the Fargo Dome. And we came away with 3 placers. One in the varsity, Nick Garber, who got 8th place, and then 2 in the JV. Gabe English at 88 pounds finished 2nd. Really tight match in the final. So he could have been first if he just cleaned up a few things there. And then at 172 max, Chiaba Tiranu, he ended up getting 7th. And I think we would have put him in the varsity if he would have stayed down a weight class, but he got a little heavy over Christmas. So I told him, if you want to go up, you're wrestling JV. If you go down, you're wrestling varsity. And so he decided it was too much. It was Christmas was going to help him make his decision, put it that way. And it was probably good for him. He got a lot of matches. He was 7-2. So that's a lot of mat time. Now, typically we don't even put wrestlers in the varsity division unless they're returning state placers. So, and Max was 1 match away from placing. So he's arguably could have been in there, but like I said, depends on what weight class too. I can go through our list quick. I think I'm going to do that. Okay.
Yep.
Who wrestled at the Rumble? In the varsity, we put the guys that placed in state last year. So Sky Cromlick, he was 2-2. Drew Carr had a bye, and then he was 1-2. And then Nick Garber ended up being 3-3, and that's the one who placed 8th. So Drew and Sky are right there about places with some of those buys and stuff. You're right there, but not there, not close enough. So just keep getting a little bit better. And then our JV said Gabe English 4-1. He got 2nd. Chase Stedman 1-2 at 88 as well. We had 2 wrestlers at 98. Ridge Cromlick 3-2 and Mason Cook both were 3-2 at 114 pounds. We had Leighton Savage 0-2, 127. Callan Wolski 1-2, 139. Crew Wolski 3-2, 172. Max Chiaba Tiranu 7-2, 7th place. 189. Jacob Heinrichs 2-2 At 215, Billy Jorgensen, 0-2. Kirby Freeman at 215, 2-2. And then at heavyweight, Chuck Jorgensen, 1-2. So everybody won matches except for 2 of the junior high age guys. So I felt pretty good about it as a whole. I mean, like we mentioned earlier, there's a lot of talent and experience and different styles and different teams from around the region. And depending on how good you are individually, winning a match or 2 or 3 is a big deal. It's a lot. We've had state champions that did not place at the Rumble and then won state more than once. So it's depends on your draw and stuff and stuff like that.
That's a tournament you've been going to for
long time
too, right?
Yeah, long time. The one thing that's nice about the Rumble, it's like a entire program tournament, varsity, junior high. And then they also have they have divisions for the youth wrestling too. So, I mean, there's a lot of Carrington parents and youth wrestlers that show up as well. So, yeah, that's 2,000 wrestlers plus however many for the youth. So I don't know how many was for youth, but they didn't count that part yet when I heard the announcement. A lot of kids.
Yeah, that's for sure. So, maybe talk about some wrestlers that you feel are ready to, or have actually shown the most improvement this year for Cardinal wrestler. Now, of course, you got one of your wrestlers hurt for the whole year, right? At heavyweight.
Yeah, unfortunately, Brody Weisenberger, state placer last year. We probably had him figured in, a top placer at state this year. A lot of points at heavyweight too, a lot of pinpoints. So he's out for the year. And right now, Jaden Broadwell's out for the year. He had an injury. So, and then we have some other guys coming back off injury. Corbin Clifton, Gabe Clifton, Callan Garber, not a major injury, but enough to cause problems, and then same with, Drew Carr had his injury for a little bit there. So there's enough things that we really haven't yet. We have yet to have we're not going to have our entire squad on the mat because we already lost our heavyweight and then Jaden Broadwell, they were both starters last year. So, 2 down right away, but then we also, without those, we thought we could get together a little faster than this, but we're just kind of waiting at week to week to see. I don't want to put them out there too soon at the same time, you don't want to go backwards. But yeah, I think, you might see, we'll see how this week goes, but we might see some other guys on the mat this weekend that you haven't seen for a while. So I'm not going to throw out any names yet, but hopefully so. Hopefully that's the way it goes.
Maybe give us some goals for some of your wrestlers that you hope to see them accomplish this year, and even some goals for yourself for Cardinal Wrestling.
Well, I think there's certain guys on the team that already have goals to be state champs, and they might not even be seeded that high as state champs, but they have goals to win it. And they should. You should always set your goals high. And then just you got to do the extra things to make it happen so that you have a chance to do so. But I think any of those guys that we have on our team that were state placers last year have a legitimate chance of accomplishing their goals. Sky Cromlech, Drew Carr, Nick Garber, Callan Garber, like Corbin Clifton. He's returning state champ, but he hasn't been on the mat yet. Gabe Clifton was a match away from placing last year. Max Chiabatrana was a match away from placing last year. Yes, that's probably. Our seniors are Drew, Max, Callan Garber, Corbin Clifton, Brody Weisenberger, and we have one junior, Jacob Heinrichs. And then we have a handful of sophomores, Jaden Broadwell, Gabe Clifton, Nick Garber, Sky Cromlech, Charles Jorgensen, who's now our varsity heavyweight because Brody's out for the year. Kirby Freeman, 215. And then we don't have any freshmen in our handful. We have a lot of junior high. Leighton Savage, Callum Wolski, Gabe English, Billy Jorgensen, Mason Cook, Ridge Cromlech, Crew Wolski, Chase Devon, and Jackson Wilson. Then we have a couple of good sixth graders coming up, Landon Clifton, Michael Vandyhoven. And if you kind of slide down to those junior high age, and those guys have a lot of talent coming up. So it's a bright future there. So I look forward to seeing those guys develop into future Carrington Cardinal champions.
Yeah, my daughter's a sixth grader, and she's always talking about Landon Clifton, how awesome he is at wrestling.
Landon, yep. That's Michael Clift, brother to Michael Clifton, who's a two-time state champ. Corbin was a champion last year as a junior. So yeah, good bloodline there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, Josh. Let's see. We're the Letterman's coming up in Castleton. Talk about that tournament. That brings in quite a few teams. That'll be a good challenge for your team as well, right?
Yeah, we went to it last year for the first time, and it was tough. I liked it. Some Minnesota, some South Dakota, and some North Dakota. So you had a good grouping of schools from around the region. Obviously, not nearly as in depth as the Rumble, but it's still a good tournament. It's a good one to right after the Rumble. It's not going to have nearly the numbers, but you're still gonna have good guys. And then so this is one of those few weeks where we don't even have any duels. It goes straight to the weekend to a tournament, which is nice because usually it seems like we have a Tuesday duel or a Thursday duel, and then every single weekend we have a tournament. So it seems like you never get to practice it. You're trained. I think training is different than developing skills and technique. That's completely different. There's conditioning involved. There's weight management involved. There's lots of things. Getting ready to compete, versus straight learning wrestling. So it's good to sometimes have some more days off too.
Yeah, and before you know it, we'll be talking East-West in New Salem. That's coming up end of the month.
Yeah, and then we got as far as tournaments, like we talked about all those junior high kids and some of those JV guys. We have our JV championships in Carrington coming up, and they'll all be able to wrestle in that, and our varsity won't wrestle in that. So they'll have a weekend off, which is good too. We only take one weekend off a year. If you can believe that. It's just crazy. And then then we got duels with Hillsborough, Central Valley, and Mayport. Okay, and then we have duels with Pembina County North and with Northern Lights, and we have the Lisbon tournament, and then the East-West tournament, region duels, individual regions, and then state. So yeah, it's coming. It's all coming fast.
One more question before we let you go here, Josh. I covered my first wrestling tournament at the Al Larson here in Carrington, and it was something to see. It was a huge tournament, well put on. Talk about the wrestling community in general, especially for Carrington. I mean, it takes parents, it takes fans. I mean, it takes a lot of work and a lot of dedication to put this stuff on. Not just the tournament, even throughout the year, right?
Yeah, it takes an army. That's for sure. I mean, to have a standalone wrestling facility like we have that's separate from the school, there's not too many towns that have that, especially in the Class B world. Matt-Pac's got a pretty big facility that's fairly new, but we've had that for way longer than they did. And bought and paid for, a lot of fundraising involved. Now we have charitable gaming, which is fairly new for our wrestling club. Pit Crew Wrestling Club is a lot of moving parts with that. There's, like you said, we host a lot of tournaments too. It takes a lot of people, table workers, concessions, setup, tear down, computers, you name it. There's all kinds of things that go on when it comes to running tournaments, and you got to have a lot of people that are willing to help. And then that's the key. What sports programs are you going to have that have volunteers that are willing to help? Look around. I know wrestling will. but that's a good thing. We're blessed to have that community in this town.
All right. Awesome. Well, thanks, Josh. We appreciate it. And good luck at that Letterman's tournament in Castleton this Friday and Saturday. We'll have it right here. All coverage, full coverage on yourliveevent.com. Do you know what times is that in the morning starting on Friday and Saturday then this weekend?
Begins at 3:30 on Friday.
Okay.
9:30 on Saturday.
Okay. Awesome.
Yep. And everything will be on Track Wrestling if people want to look up results. Yeah, there. I can read this. I can tell you the teams that are coming if you want to know.
Yep. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Bishop Bryan, Britain, Hecla, South Dakota, us, Carrington, Central Cast, Lax, Burlington, Lewis and Clark. No, that's the same thing. Lax, Burlington, Lewis and Clark, Edgerly, Ellendale, Cullum, Frazee, Minnesota, Grafton, Harvey, Wells County, Hillsborough, Central Valley, Kindred, Lemoore, Litchfield, Marion, Larimore, Lisbon, Mayport, Napoleon, New York Mills, Minnesota, Northern Cast, Northern Lights, Northwood, Oaks, Pembina County North, Roseau, Rugby, South Border, Thompson. That's good. That's be interesting. That's Thompson's our first year having varsity wrestling. So we'll see what they got. Webster, South Dakota, West Fargo, Cheyenne, JV. So that's the list of teams involved so far.
Be about
Some good ones in there.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that'll be good. So, all right. Well, thanks so much, Josh. We appreciate it. And good luck this weekend and the rest of the year. And hopefully, we get you on there. And we'll have, of course, I think there's a Carrington Triangular coming up January 23rd. So we'll have that on here on your live event. So, yeah. So we'll appreciate it. And then we'll talk again later.
All right. Talk to you later, Greg. Thanks.
You bet. Yep. We'll see you.
There's more at 104. Hillsborough, North Dakota has everything you need on your next road trip. Food, fuel, fun, and family-friendly activities. Stop by and fill up your tank or grab a bite to eat. Have a blast at Goose River Golf Club, the swimming pool, or one of our beautiful parks. There's even ice skating and cross-country skiing. Take in the sights or stay the night so you don't miss a thing. Experience Hillsborough and see why there's more at 104.
Sharing our heritage, sharing our future. Choosing the right bank for your financial needs can be challenging with the many choices available. Dakota Heritage Bank is pleased you're interested in knowing more about what they can do for you. The Dakota Heritage Bank community bank setting is a strong advantage they have over larger, less personal banks. Customers are more than account numbers, they are friends and neighbors. Working together, Dakota Heritage Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Senior spotlight this week, it comes from the Hawley High School. It's Ingrid Rustad. She's going to join us to talk a little bit about the senior year and, of course, her career and a lot of other things to discuss here with Ingrid as we recap 2024 as well, heading into the new year. But Ingrid, first off, thanks for the time here during the break. I know we reached this stage of the year, and now, of course, we're transitioning into the new year. But from your standpoint as a senior, half your year is gone. Has it been going by as quickly as it seems on my end anyway?
Yes, it's been going by super fast, and especially for like how long the volleyball season went, it went by like so fast.
We want to talk about that. So senior year for you has been very memorable at this stage. Your Hawley Nuggets became state champions in Class AA this year. I know that's just something I still kind of find myself smiling when I think about it, because that is, as we talked about during the first time a team has won a state championship as the Hawley Nuggets is known. There was a cross-country title that's shared with a co-op at one time, but an incredible achievement. And your season was filled with everything, right? You had a little bit of everything throughout the year. It was a challenging year, but it's never easy. To win a state championship, I mean, how do you put that in perspective?
I'm not really sure. I'm still shocked when I think about it. I'm like, we won state, like, really? Because when I think about other teams winning state, I'm like, wow, they're so good. Like, that's really cool. And then when we did that, it was just still shocking. Like, I can't believe we did that. And the challenges that we went through during the season just made it like even better when we did win state because all the hard work that we put out like did during the whole entire season and worked together, like it just was even better.
A magical type scenario. You guys made a run into the section playoffs and find yourself in the state tournament. And I think the time you spent on the court, well, that was important and impressive, and you win. But sounded like as a team, you guys really enjoyed all the bonding you had in for the week you were there. Just with a lot of different things that you had to experience as teammates and friends and classmates.
Yeah, our team is pretty tight, so we all love hanging out with each other, and we just all work well together. Like we just like mend it. Like I don't know, yeah, it just works really well.
It's all right not to be able to explain it. It's never happened in the school's history before, so there's reason for that. That is gonna, like you said, it carries over. So you have a season of volleyball that stretches into the basketball season for a girls' sports. So it's taken your girls' basketball season, a couple of days to get started, right? But you've been playing. I mean, you're really nonstop, right? You go from volleyball right into basketball. So what's that transition been like for you here your senior year on the court?
I think it's been a little challenging because we got like a new coach and Izzy was kind of like our leader on the basketball court. And so it's been a little tough to adjust with that, with her not being there, and then learning so many new skills of like defenses and offenses and plays. It's just been a learning experience and it's been a little challenging, but we've been getting better each game and starting to improve.
Here during the Christmas break, you had an opportunity. Your team did play at the Granite City Classic, something that Hawley girls basketball has been a part of, and the boys too, for that matter, the last few years. Beneficial. I know what for me, I enjoy it if I can get a break. I like to take it, But this is an overnight experience for your team. You feel it was a good thing for your squad at this stage?
Yeah, I think it was very good. We played two teams that were very physical and aggressive, and they had good shooters and stuff. And I think it was good for us to play with the physicality because it just makes us stronger. And the play was a lot faster too, so we got to adjust to that and learn how to play with that speed also.
Very good. And then you mentioned Izzy Steer as someone that obviously on the basketball court you're missing this year as a leader, but you missed her and kind of had to go through that challenge during the volleyball season as well as just as someone that's teammate, classmate. I'm sure that does matter. So how do you guys pick up when that piece is missing?
Everyone on the team has to take another step up and work extra hard because we did lose a very valuable person on our team. And so it takes everyone to just raise to the level, and just work harder.
You mentioned Izzy. So just before Christmas break, you guys were able to have a signing day and be able to share some great news of both you and your classmate and teammate Izzy Steer both signing national letters of intent to go and play sports collegiately. For Izzy, it's basketball, and then for you, traveling not too terribly far down the road to NDSCS for volleyball. So, what went into that decision to choose a school and ultimately continue playing sports?
I think ending our volleyball season, it was like such a high, I think, and I've always loved playing volleyball, and I really liked the coach at NDSCS, and the team seemed really close, just like our team. And I I was just excited. I was like, I think this would be really fun, and it would be something like that I could learn, and it'd be new and still continuing something that I love.
Was I mean, it kind of a stepping stone, to a point, right? Too, because NDSCS could catapult you beyond that. Do you think that you made a decision not to play? Do you think you find yourself maybe at college saying, "I really wish I would have played"? I mean, making this decision now to give yourself a chance? I mean, you feel solid about that decision?
Yeah, I'm really excited and I'm really happy that I chose to play volleyball in college. And I think if I did go to college and I didn't play volleyball, I would regret it a little bit, I think. And there's always like those co-op teams like with girls and boys that you can play, but I don't think it's the same. Like I think I would have regretted it a little bit.
I know a little bit about your competitive energy, and I think playing on the true sport might make a difference for you.
Yeah.
Volleyball is a family thing for you, and I want maybe just for you to touch on that with your mom being coach at your high school team, but aunt involved and cousins playing, and the history of the family too on your mom's side from the collegiate experience playing volleyball. That probably factors in a little bit into your decision to extend the career.
Yeah. Our family has always kind of been big into sports, like my mom and like all of her sisters and my cousins too. And it's kind of just been a thing that we've done. And we've all like played volleyball, we all play basketball, like we all just do everything. And volleyball is special because I have two cousins that have played with me, and it just makes it a lot more fun and yeah. It's just like been something that we've done ever since we've been young, and yeah, it's really
It's
fun.
it's unique. I mean, and I know families often have these ties. Your ties are very it's special, and I'm sure that matters. But from that standpoint, your senior year, still have track and field. Are you going to participate track and field again this spring?
Yep.
You've had great success there too. Again, just athletics wise, that's been key. But I haven't talked to you much about your school, so let's talk about academics. What's some of your favorite subjects or class structures that you have? I always think of like your math, your science, your English, and social studies, history, whatever. Do you have one of those core classes that's always kind of drawn you a little bit?
I think math is probably my favorite. I'm not a big like English person. It's like I like it. Like it's okay, but I'm just not as good at it, so it's just not as fun. But I think math is probably my favorite out of all of them.
Fair enough. Have you had a favorite teacher? And if it's too competitive or whatever, that's fine. I don't want to get you in trouble or anything. But have you had a favorite teacher
No.
throughout your high school experience?
Um, I don't I don't know. Uh, mm, I don't think I have. Like I like
It's
all my teachers. I don't
just
know.
fine. Yeah, it's totally fine. Yeah, that's good enough. I don't. And some people it pops right up. I was going to ask you about role models and maybe who have been some of those people that have stood out for you as you've shaped your time in high school. Who would be some of those role models that you've used and looked up to?
I think my mom is a big one. She she's always looking out for everyone except for herself, and she always wants everyone to be included and everyone to feel loved, and she works really hard at everything and she never gives up. And it's a really good example for me because when things get hard and I just know to keep working and keep going and never give up and to also look out for people around me and not just myself, which is good. And then probably my sister too. She's really um goal oriented and she's running track now at USF, University of Sioux Falls. And so that's really exciting for her. And she's just gone through a lot and she's still working hard and doing school and yeah.
Those are good things. And you mentioned your family, they're a big piece. There's no question about it. And that is, I always find those ties to be really exciting. As far as, you close out this school year, do you have, thoughts of after high school when it comes to you're going to play volleyball at NDSCS, but what are you thinking about your future? Where do you think you're going to study those type of things?
I think I'll go into business management and get a degree there. And I want to go into cosmetology as well after college. Maybe start my own hair salon. Who knows?
Business and hair. Hey, and people always need to get their haircut. There's
True. That is
I heard somebody
true.
once say you can't get your hair cut on the internet. Doesn't work.
It's true. You can't.
Gotta have people to do hair. I like that. I'm losing mine, say, but other people.
Yeah.
That's fun. Well, I know that senior year can be a lot of fun. Do you have senioritis? I mean, are you anxious for it to be done, or are you really soaking it up?
I think I'm ready. I'm ready to graduate, but I also want to be in the moment and not take it for granted. So
Certainly. Do you participate in anything, for extracurriculars? You talk about your sports. Do you participate in anything else? Band, music, organizations, groups, anything like that?
I was in band for a while, not this year, but I'm also in student council and then MHS as well. But yeah.
There you go. Some good things to be involved in as well. I guess just a couple quick questions before I let you go, and then we can swing into the new year here. But as far as rivalries exist, throughout we talk sports wise, rivalries exist. So do you have a favorite rival that you've played throughout your sports, and or favorite, I don't know, on the track too? It might be something. Anything that kind of stands out as your favorite of the rivalries? This could be tough. This is a tricky
I
question.
don't know. I don't know if I have a fave. Barnesville, DGF, and Perham. I feel like those are some pretty good rivalries that we have. I don't know if I have a favorite, but I feel like those are always rivals.
And I know that you're always active, always playing sports, and then you get to develop relationships with, players potentially, from across the area. So maybe just who you've kind of, gravitated towards as some of your friends now that maybe are on those rivalries that you've played with and things of that nature.
Like people that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Like Sydney Roberts from Breckenridge. Greta Razor from Perham, Addie Hackle from Perham. There's some people from Frazee, Bryn MacArthur, I think.
Sure, yep.
And then those are like the main people that I can think of.
Sure. That's kind of neat. There's a lot of that cross then when it comes to this time of the seasons where you're in the AAUs or whatever, right? There's a lot of that nowadays, isn't there? Where you go up against some of the you probably play these kids for a lot of. There's some of that goes it transcends. I'm sure.
Yeah, you'll play on like the same team as someone for like a jail volleyball team, and then you'll go in the regular season and play against them, and you're like, oh, I know you. Kind of makes it fun, but
makes it interesting, no doubt. Well, Ingrid, it's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed watching you throughout your career, and I look forward to seeing how the rest of your senior year goes along. And I'm glad to hear of the signing at NDSCS. So good luck to you in the pursuit and continued success. But appreciate your time and enjoy the rest of senior year.
thank you. Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Ingrid Rustad from Hawley. She is our senior spotlight this week on yourliveevent.com.
That does it for this week's edition of the yourliveevent.com Coaches Show. Join us every Wednesday night starting at 7 o'clock for another edition here in 2025. The yourliveevent.com Coaches Show is presented to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. I'm Chase Miller. Have a good rest of your Wednesday night and week here across the Red River Valley.